Hey there and welcome. Today we're going to be talking about the functional trainer lateral raise. It's an incredible exercise for the side delts, so basically the side of your shoulders. Here's a couple things that we have to do before we get started is make sure that we set up the height all the way down to the bottom. So I recommend you put that like a K, and then the rotational arm, put that at a 1. That way you're inside the machine and not in the middle of the gym floor. And then choose your appropriate weight. Start off light, make sure you can do 20 repetitions, and then start to increase the weight every other week or so by like a plate or so. Once you're there, take a little step away from the machine, and then with the opposite arm, you want to make sure that you're grabbing that handle and bringing the cable straight to the side. Now, your hands aren't going to be directly in line with your shoulder, which is fine. You just want to really focus on raising the elbow as you're doing the raise. Now, before we continue, here's a word from today's video sponsor.
I'm today's video sponsor, and if you'd like help losing fat or gaining muscle, there are a few ways I can help you down below. Either set up a free consultation with us, purchase through one of our free affiliate links, or purchase one of our instant access affordable training programs. Can't wait to be of service to you. Now let's get back to the rest of the video.
Like I said, elbow position is very important with this exercise. You want to be driving with the elbows. Almost imagine that the cable is attached to your elbows, not your hands. Because if you don't, then what's going to end up happening is a lot of people tend to like rotate their wrist as they're going up. So their wrists end up being higher than their elbows. And you don't want that. You want them to be, for the most part, in line, or the elbow slightly higher than the wrist. You don't want to be kind of like pulling as if you're kind of pulling the weight back instead of just directly up. If it's a little higher than the elbow, is not a big deal, but you know, I hope that you get what I'm trying to say here. You don't just want to raise your hand to that height. You want to raise your elbows to that height. Next thing I want you guys to really focus on is making sure that you're standing up nice and tall. Don't lean over when you're doing this. Make sure that you're taking around a shoulder width stance, glutes tight, abs tight, and chin straight. You don't want to be looking up when you're doing this or down. I recommend that you use the opposite arm to embrace your hip. That way you really focus on not rotating as you're doing this. You don't want to rotate anything. You just want the arm to come up and bring it up to like around shoulder height, maybe even a little higher. You don't need to really go much higher than that. And that's pretty much it. Just also make sure that you keep the tempo nice and smooth. Don't use a lot of momentum with this exercise. Just make sure that you're focusing on driving those elbows up as well as contracting the shoulder. Now here's some common mistakes. You don't want to be rotating when you're doing this. You want to make sure that your torso is just facing forward the whole time. You also want to make sure that you're not doing half reps, whether that's at the bottom of the range or the top of the range. Go all the way down, all the way up. And by all the way up, I mean just like to the shoulder and then back down. Don't excessively bend the elbow. You want a slight bend in your elbow, but you don't want to be bending your elbows a bunch. If you do, you're going to put an unnecessary amount of strain on your wrist.